Stocking up your boat provisions is challenging without a car. Hi, I'm Carolyn Sherlock, and on this episode of the Boat Galley Podcast, I'll share how we make provisioning just a little bit easier when we don't have a car. This episode of the Boat Galley Podcast is sponsored by Infinity, the most trusted name in woven vinyl flooring in the marine industry. Since 2008, Infinity has offered boat owners premier flooring options proven to withstand even the most demanding environments. Each of their products is equipped with UV-stable, fade resistance, and antimicrobial technology, giving them both durability and style that can't be matched. Are you thinking about kicking carpet to the curb? Make the switch to Infinity and see the difference true luxury makes. Visit InfinityLWV, that's for luxurywovenvinyl.com, and use the coupon code PODCAST for 50% off samples. Sell everything and sail off into the sunset sounds like a great concept, but how do you actually do some of the everyday things? Like, say, grocery shopping. Whether you're full-time cruising and sold your car, or simply away from your home port for a short trip, provisioning without a car is a serious concern for many contemplating the cruising lifestyle. I'll admit, it is a big change, but there are ways to manage it. Here are a number of different strategies, depending on the situation. First, there's walking. If I don't need too much, and the store is less than a mile or so away, I tend to walk. The downside is that I have to be careful of how much I buy and the weight of it. Cold things go in my soft 12-can cooler. Everything else is in a day pack or a heavy-duty tote bag. A good day pack is easier to carry cans in, but crushable foods such as bread, chips, and produce do better in a tote bag. I also have a larger 24-can soft cooler, but it's just too big when I'm carrying everything back from the store. Which brings us to another option, a collapsible wagon. More and more cruisers are using these instead of the traditional dock carts, and they work much better over long distances and bumpy roads. Key features to look at are overall frame strength, the size of the tires. Larger ones are much better on bumpy roads and sidewalks, as well as grass, dirt, and sand, and the handle length if you're tall. Depending on where you need to store it, folded size may also be a consideration, although the tougher units do tend to have larger frames and don't fold as compactly as more lightly built wagons. Most of the wagons are rated to carry 150 pounds, which is usually adequate. A case of beer or pop weighs a little under 20 pounds. Canned goods are generally under a pound a can. In hot climates, you can put a cooler inside the wagon to carry meat and dairy products. I prefer my soft 24-can cooler for ease of storage, but I've seen people using hard coolers too. Now, these wagons are not designed to carry kids or pets. I don't have one, but I have numerous friends who do. You can buy collapsible wagons at most home improvement, outdoors, and big box stores, or on Amazon, of course. As with most things, tougher units that stand up better to everyday use are more expensive. How tough a wagon you need depends a lot on how you anticipate using it. When we were cruising in the Sea of Cortez, I would have loved one of these collapsible wagons instead of having to hand carry items whenever I couldn't find a cab. Yeah, that's the other option, a cab. When you don't have a car of your own, cabs, also Uber and Lyft, become a way of life. How often we use them depended on the distance, the cost, and the availability. Many times we'd walk to the store, partly to save money, partly just as exercise, and then we'd take a cab back to the boat. In Mexico, there were almost always cabs waiting outside the grocery stores. In the Florida Keys, you can call for one while you're paying, and they'll usually arrive at the store about the time you walk out the door. When we were in El Salvador, we generally get with a few other cruisers and jointly do a full-day trip to San Salvador with one of our favorite cabbies. Then there's buses. While I have provisioned by bus, I have to say I generally found it hard if I was trying to get more than just a few things. If I packed things into a day pack, I'd have to remove the pack and find a place to set it down during the ride. Not always easy on a crowded bus. If I just carried bags, I had to make sure that nothing rolled away when I set them on the floor. Taking a case of sodas or beer was almost impossible. Then there's delivery. Occasionally you'll find a store that will deliver to your marina or dinghy dock. Many in the BVI's do. We found a couple in the Bahamas that did. These are definite wins. And then there's a rental car. A car of your own is about the ultimate luxury as far as provisioning goes. Most of us aren't going to rent one for the J just for provisioning. But if you have one for some other purpose, it's great to stop by the store before you have to return it. Thanks for listening to the Boat Galley podcast. If you liked it, please give us a 5-star rating and come back for more tips and advice to make living on a boat easier.